What's up, everybody? I know the timing is kind of off when YouTube starts, so welcome. Here's our special guest that I mentioned. You guys already know her, my wife, Whitney. So if you haven't been to this channel before, my name is Frank. This is Whitney. We do reptile stuff here. Right now, we currently are in the snake room. So I'll give you a quick virtual tour. There's our baby ball python rack, adults. Behind me is actually something really cool that we're going to set up right now. Dumeril's boas. So I'm going to hand the video off to Whitney. She is going to set up, or she's going to video me while I set up Dumeril's boas, because the official start time of this video isn't until 8 o'clock. So those who come in at 8, I want them to get the full picture of when we go into the gecko room, and you guys can ask all kinds of gecko questions. But what's up, Crescent? I'm looking forward to that design. So you know Crescent, right, hon? So she is designing some logo stuff for us right now that we could put on merchandise, like coffee mugs, stickers. I don't know if my voice sounds low. It's because the microphone's turned around. But in a second, Whitney is going to be videoing me, and so it's going to be pointing in the right direction. But in case you're just tuning in, so I wanted to log on early to give everybody a chance to get here. We're going to start at 8 o'clock and maybe go till about 9 o'clock, so for about an hour. What we're going to do in that time period...
9:45.
8:45? Whitney wants me to stop
No,
saying
no,
it.
no. 8:45.
So we're in the snake room right now because we have something pretty cool. We're going to be setting up Dumeril's boas. And I want to show you how to set up baby boas before, when they're first born, before they actually give off their first shed. So don't fear if you're just coming in right now. You don't have to rewind this or anything. This is sort of just like a pre-video, a pre-stream to the live stream. Next, after this 15, 20 minutes, we'll be moving into the gecko room where we'll just focus on gecko stuff. But I'm going to hand the phone to Whitney, and she's going to tape something that I have to do for the baby boas right now. So if you could do that, I'm just going to put the baby boas away. And what's up, everyone, too? I see everyone's starting to say hi in the chat. And Whitney's going to manage the chat, so see if you can get a shot of Big Mama right here.
Well, hold on. How do I flip it?
Oh, so you flip it just like that.
Like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
See if you can get a shot of Big Mama. So.
I'm eating Velveeta shells and cheese. It's liquid gold.
Did someone ask what you're eating?
It is the best. Yes.
Oh, good. So there's Big Mama right there. She actually probably smells rats in the room right now, which is for the ball pythons and not for her. Tomorrow we will get her a meal. We've just been hydrating her first after she laid her babies. And so here we're going to show the babies. Whitney, I love your eyes. Yeah, she does have beautiful eyes. That did, on one of our first, was it our first official date? But you were like, oh, I like your brown eyes. And I was like, I like your green eyes. We were silly. So there's Big Mama.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah, she's saying hi.
Yeah, so her name is Betty. She's about an 8-foot Dumeril's boa. And I'm not touching her or anything right now because she just laid babies. And I put her in this fresh tub so she could get the baby smell off of her and start eating again. Even though eating has never been a problem for her. She ate throughout her whole pregnancy, which is like 4 months. So, no, that's it, Ivan. It's just GeekyGeckoCreations. We obviously focus on leopard geckos because that's where I started in the industry. But my passion has grown to so many other species like tegus, boas, ball pythons. So I also work with a few other odds and ends species as well as some of the popular species in captivity. So, all right, well, let's take a look at Big Mama's babies. So there's a few babies here. And these babies were just born 2 days ago. And they need to be set up in a plastic tub with moist paper towel until they shed their first shed. But you can see, hon, if you could get in there.
Looks like right now.
Yeah, just within the first 24 hours, these babies are already shedding. So pro tip I got from a boa breeder friend of mine, don't wash them off when they first come out of the mom, because that slime that the mom cakes on there when they're born in their embryonic sac and everything like that, it actually helps them shed. And you can see this little one is shedding right here. But because of poop and bacteria and stuff, I want to change this out for them every day until they go into their own tubs. So that's what we're going to do. So, hon, I'm going to put you on that side right there. And I'm just going to put these babies. Now, I've been bitten a number of times by these babies. And believe it or not, they actually draw blood. Now, real quick, hon, you see that umbilical cord hanging out? Mm-hmm. So that is something that should either fully absorb or get cut off and die on its own within the first couple of days. And that's like their belly button. Their poop hole is down here. So obviously the umbilical cord is not attached to the poop hole. The umbilical cord is attached higher up, like a third of the way up the body. And so, like I said, I can already see it's dying. Remember, the umbilical cord in the egg is what brings blood and nutrients and all that stuff to the baby. So it's important you don't just yank on it because it's actually full of blood. But right now I can see the belly's closing around it, and it should fall off on its own. If it doesn't, you could take a piece of floss, tie it really tight, like 2 or 3 knots, and that should help cut off the blood flow and it should get absorbed. But I'm trying to let it happen naturally first, so.
Yes, Jaden, she did give live birth.
Yeah, they are live bearers.
Mm-hmm.
If you could keep an eye on them, hun, because I'm going to be back and forth between here and the tub. So that's one of our healthy little babies that we have. And they're already shedding. I have all their shed here. This is another healthy baby that we have. Dumeril's boas are so pretty, guys. You can see the coloration and the pattern of them. It's very mystical looking, cryptic looking. That's actually why the value of these guys went up, because not a lot of people were breeding them. I was fortunate enough to rescue a male and a female adult from somebody who just couldn't care for them anymore. And another reason why boas are so expensive and tough to deal with when you're first getting into them is because from baby to adult takes about 3 to 4 years before you can start breeding the babies. So about 2 to 3 years for a male and 3 to 4 years for a female. So imagine waiting that long. It's a pretty long period of time, but once you get the boas, it's so worth it. They'll have anywhere between 20 to 40 babies at a time. Unfortunately, Dumeril's boas, as pretty as they are, their weakness is clutch numbers. They have very low clutch numbers. So all we got in this clutch was actually 4 live babies and about 5 slug. Ow! Yeah, it got me. So you can see it actually cuts, it does cut the surface. You do feel the teeth. And thankfully, Big Mama has never bitten me. Another good thing about Dumeril's boas, they are such good tempered animals. I know you can't tell by the babies, but the adults are such good tempered animals. And it's a good thing too, because an 8-foot adult, you don't want to, nom nom. You don't want an 8-foot adult latching onto. But I've never been bit or aggressively struck at by my adult male or my adult female. And after I put the babies away, I'll show you the adult male before we move on to the gecko room.
Yeah, so when we move on to the gecko room, we'll answer your gecko questions.
Yeah, so repost those questions. Look at this. You can see. Mm-hmm. So you can see. And it's been pretty moist in here. And the skin is still sticking a little bit. So that's why I want to change everything to a fresh paper towel. I'm just putting them in a little bit of water right now. But I did, you see that? I did not wash these guys off when they first came out of their mom. I just put them onto like this.
Effie, stop.
Hun, if you can look up here. Like this, it's just going to be wet paper towel. So I'm going to change this out right now and I'll show you what it looks like. Hun, if you could just keep an eye on them, make sure nobody escapes into these holes right here.
Yeah, they are very feisty.
Just as babies, though.
Yeah. I mean, but yeah, if you can imagine the adults biting you, I mean, that could, I don't know, get an artery. That could be serious, pretty scary. But it's never happened before with the adults.
So, hun, I'm going to show the setup of the tub right here real quick. If you can film that. So one reason you want to change this every day pretty much until the baby shed is because of bacteria. You know, water grows in bacteria grows in humid places very quickly, and because this tub is like almost 100% humid, and it's gonna have their poo and their shed in it, and their mama's like umbilical fluids and stuff. You just want to try to change it out every day. Is kind of the information that I was seeing, and get it nice and wet like that, and then we're gonna put the babies back.
Jaden, I definitely prefer the geckos.
Over snakes?
Yes, over snakes.
Here, there's better lighting right there. See if you can get a good shot. Look at the pattern on that one on top, though. Isn't it so pretty? One of them had a kinked tail, and I thought it was this one on top, but maybe it's straightening out. I'm not sure, but...
Yeah, so when they were born, it was pretty gnarly.
Pretty gnarly.
Kind of scary.
Why was it scary?
Well, there was
blood everywhere.
Understandably, there was blood everywhere. There was.
I don't think you expected that, huh?
Well,
because you kept telling me, you're like, "There's blood everywhere. There's blood everywhere."
No. I did, because I know what happens when babies are born, but that one baby really freaked me out.
Isn't it really cool how they come out live? So this is by far. Can you get a good shot at it? Out of these three, this one has the coolest pattern, in my opinion. And this might be the one we're keeping. Originally, I was going to sell all of the babies, but this one has a slight kinking in the tail, as you can see right there. So I can't ethically sell this one to somebody, especially since they're pretty high dollar right now. They're like anywhere between $500 to $700 per baby. I couldn't sell this one to somebody with the thought lingering over my head as, what if this one has trouble breeding? What if it has trouble passing a stool or whatever? So we'll probably be holding on to this one a little bit longer. There's two that are perfectly healthy. This one, which is so beautiful, but has a kinking in the tail. And then another one, which I will show you next, we're housing on its own. And what's wrong with that one, hon?
They will see.
They will see. It's hard to explain, but it was born with some of its umbilical cord still attached, like a lot of its umbilical cord still attached. It never fully absorbed it into its body, and the gaping hole where it absorbed its belly button, so to speak.
It didn't. I could be wrong, but it didn't really look like an umbilical cord.
Well, it was part of the umbilical and yolk sac and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, and as soon as I pulled it up, it sucked it all into its body. But the problem is its ribs are stuck open, and I'll show you. You'll know as soon as I see. So here we go, hon. Get one more shot of these guys. I'm gonna change the water before we put them away.
Well, so I'll just let him change the water first. Okay. So, sorry, I'm swallowing my food. So, Jaden says, is the kinked tail, a result of, like, how it was born, or was it kinked in the womb?
So it was if a kinking of the tail happens, it happens during the development stages of the baby. So it would have happened during the development stages of the baby at some point. This happens with certain ball python morphs, fairly frequent if the incubation temperatures are high. So people have started lowering the incubation temperatures. So the normal incubation temperature for a ball python is about 88 to 89 degrees. But anyone who works with a morph that is prone to kinking, they will actually lower the temperature to about 85 to 86 degrees. And that has statistically shown to produce better odds for animals with less kinking. So boas incubate naturally, though, in their mother's womb, and the mother moves around the tub and she incubates them in her stomach at whatever temperature as the temperature is fluctuating around. So we're going to put these guys away, and I'm going to show you the other Dumeril's boa baby that we have.
Hun, would you say it's a fatal or non-fatal birth defect?
So really bad kinking can be fatal because it can prevent the animal from passing a stool. But in this animal's case, it doesn't look like it's going to affect the animal's quality of life. Obviously, I can't guarantee that. As the animal grows older, will it be able to breed normally? Will it be able to pass large bowel movements? I don't know, and that's one of the reasons why I'll probably just wind up keeping that one for a long period of time and seeing how it develops. And if it appears to have no development or no, biological issues, then I might sell it. But if it does have some biological issues, I might either have someone adopt it that wants to take it into its care, or I will just care for it on my own to gain experience as well as just to give the animal the best life possible that I can. So let's take a look at this next one.
Well,
now.
Hold on a second. Hey, what's up, Supreme Gecko?
Wally, take a look at this health issue, Wally. And this one doesn't stop from biting, so that's why I'm a little. This one is also very, very, very beautiful. Like really nice color and pattern. It's a little bit smaller than the other ones, but when I turn it around right now, you're going to see what I'm talking about. There's where its umbilical cord was getting absorbed. When this baby first came out, if you want to see, look at my Instagram. I have some really gnarly pictures over how this looked when the baby first came out. It was totally like bad looking. Right now, it's actually not so bad looking, right? But the problem is, as you can see, its ribs are kind of stuck out. It's fully absorbed its umbilical and its yolk sac and all that. It's absorbed it into its body, but its ribs appear to be kind of stuck in place, and there's little nubs right here. There's a nub right there and a nub right there, and they are kind of soft. I don't know what that is. I don't know if the skeleton just didn't develop quite all the way. Another thing is, I found mama on top of this baby, right in that area where the umbilical cord is. Like, she was flat on top of this baby, and this baby is a little baby. It's a runt, first of all. It's a little small. Second of all, it's just a little baby. It's so small compared to the mom, because Dumeril's boas in full weight, the mom probably weighs at least like 15 pounds in full weight. So imagine a piece of her body sitting on top of this little baby. That's just a lot, right? But did you get a good shot of it?
Yes.
So you can kind of see the belly is split open, and we're hoping it's actually looking like it's beginning to close, but we're hoping the wound will continue to close. And I actually think the wound will close. The wound looks like it'll close. My main concern at this point are the ribs. The ribs look like they're bent and broken out and kind of stuck in place. So my concern is, I just hope those ribs will go back into place. And if they don't, we might have to try to manually reset those ribs. I tried to poke around a little bit there to see if the snake has any sensitivity or pain response, and it doesn't, so that's good. But at the same time, if its ribs are just stuck out like that,
be bad.
Yeah, but if the ribs are just stuck out like that, I don't know like the survival chances of that animal. So we will have to consider whether we want to try to reset those ribs or not. But for now, she's doing this animal's doing okay. We're gonna monitor her for the next 7 days to a week or so and kind of see what happens.
Real quick, hon, Crescent Creatures is asking if the male ball python is still for sale and how much.
So it was $200. We never really got to sell it. Like, there was someone that was interested and they kept bouncing in and out. And then we actually wound up breeding him again, like finishing off breeding him. So Crescent, if you don't mind, just message me after because I need to think about it for a little bit, because we actually put him back into the breeding rotation for this year because he was breeding to one of our girls. And so he might need to stay a little bit to continue breeding that girl until she lays eggs. And then we might just consider reselling him after that. But I got to think about it. I don't want to be too hasty with my answer, but you know how it is. Sometimes we put animals for sale and then we take them back and put them up and take them back. But obviously, we're in the business to spread the wealth of reptiles. So if we have availability to sell him, we definitely will. I just have to think about it for a second, and also let him finish breeding with the one female that he's breeding this year. So I hope that helps. But
Hey, Ivan, thanks for the $1.
yeah, Ivan, thank you, bro.
That's awesome. Guys, anything that you feel obligated, or not obligated, no one's obligated, but that you feel passionate to give towards us, that would be awesome. I'm on a teacher's salary and this business is just starting up, so I mean there's not a lot of income coming in. The utilities bill for electricity is pretty high, as you can tell. Hey, thanks for the additional $2, Ivan. Awesome.
All right. Thank you so much. You know, I really appreciate everyone who's here and tuning in. Every part that you play in the growth of our business is so vital. So thank you for the super chats and anyone who's able to donate to our cause over here and our growth over here. I really appreciate it. But just donating your time, your comments, your questions, and being here, thank you for those elements as well, because that helps us just grow naturally as well. And you guys are here kind of from the ground floor growing with us. So really appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are awesome.
This is like year one officially of, you know, our business. And it's kind of a growth year. And I'm going to wind up making a video on this, but I want to show you guys how to grow your own reptile business from the ground up, right? Because not everybody has $50,000 to $100,000 to buy a bunch of valuable animals and then breed those animals and then start their business that way. So there's something called organic growth, which is basically breeding your leopard geckos selectively so that you can produce everything that you need in-house. And the thing with leopard geckos that is so phenomenal that allows you to do that is something called temperature sex determination. So if you incubate at a lower temperature, you're going to get mostly all females, higher temperature, mostly all males. So you can actually incubate for all females 1 year, and then the next year, from every female that you incubated females, you're going to get somewhere between 5 to 10 additional females. And because leopard geckos sexually mature so fast, within 6 to 8 months or 6 to 10 months or so, literally any female you produce can be breeding for you later that year. And that's kind of how you grow organically from the leopard gecko side of things. And so that's what we're doing this year. We're expecting a couple hundred babies, but out of those couple hundred babies, if we hold the majority of those back, think of how many babies we're going to have next year and the variety and the quality and the quantity. So that's really kind of our strategy this year as far as organic growth.
Hey, you guys are so awesome, man.
Oh, we get more?
Thurman Merman, $10.
Dang, thank you, Thurman.
Ivan, another $1. Look at you.
I love it. All right, quick little for fun thing. What is your guys' favorite thing to buy on the dollar menu at McDonald's or Burger King? And I guess, first of all, tell me if you are a fan of Burger King over McDonald's or McDonald's over Burger King. And in addition to that, what your favorite item is.
Oh, man. McDonald's over Burger King any day.
McDonald's, okay. I really do like McDonald's, but they are so expensive right now. Like, they don't have any coupons for anything on, like, the app and stuff.
Yeah, but there's a dollar menu. Yeah, McDonald's all the way. The McChicken, the cheeseburger from...
So I just want to get... Oh. Can you see that? One more shot of the...
Yeah.
The belly. It's actually closing. It's not as wide as it was. But you can kind of see the ribs are open. Do you want to shut your alarm off? I hear it. It's just going to keep ringing.
Okay, I'll go shut it off if it bothers you. Yeah. Hey, Ivan, thanks. Yeah, he says, you're his favorite YouTuber.
Wow, thank you, Ivan. That means a lot. Because I really do enjoy the social media side of things. You know, not everybody wants to like be on camera or do social media or like teach and educate, but I really appreciate being able to do that. So I'm grateful to have you know, fellow people in the industry that love to tune into this channel and participate. So you guys are so great. I really appreciate it. I'm bringing Whitney more and more into the videos nowadays, and you know, she's busy. She's a music teacher. She goes to like Zumba classes and workout classes at night and stuff. But I like to get her involved because I think it's cool to have somebody there with you, you know, to relate with you guys and to bounce ideas and comments and questions and stuff. So just thank you guys really very much. All right, so 4 babies, about 5 slugs, which is like bad babies, you know, that weren't developed. And that's year 1 for our Mama Dumerils over here. Now, it's not her first year producing. I rescued her from an older gentleman whose son owned these 2 boas, but his son went off to school, and the older gentleman was not able to care for these boas in the way that he would like. So he literally put them up on Craigslist for what would now be a redonkulously low amount of money. I think I paid $200 for both of them, plus a large 4-foot cage at the time. And now an adult female Dumeril's boa, if you look on Morph Market, $2,000. The value of Dumeril's boa is just skyrocketed. So if you have the availability to get an adult Dumeril's boa or close to an adult Dumeril's boa for a reasonable price, and you want to take advantage of that, I would say that's a good investment, because right now Dumeril's boas are, you know, their value is going up. But do keep in mind, they do have lower clutches. So whereas with the regular BCI boa, you're going to get somewhere between 20 to 30 babies, which is really, really cool. With Dumeril's boas, you're mainly going to linger around the 5 to 10 baby mark. And so it's a lot of work and effort to be taking care of them, feeding them throughout the year. But I love Dumeril's boas. They get just a little bit smaller than the BCI boa. You know, the BCI boa females, they get like 9 to 10 feet, which is pretty intimidating. Dumeril's boas females only get about 7 to 8 feet, which is not as intimidating. And I'm going to show you a male right now that is really cool. And another thing about them, not only do they look super mosaic and cryptic looking and just look super, super cool, but they have really, really well-mannered personalities. So let me put this back over here.
Hey, Wally, we really appreciate it.
Thanks, Wally.
He said we're really down-to-earth people. Thank you so much. I mean, I can't tell you how much we appreciate you guys.
Whitney's really down-to-earth. You get it? Oh, she gets it right away. Why is that, hon?
Well, I am 4'11", so...
4'10" and a half.
4'11". Let's see.
Are there any other what's the politically correct term? Shorter fans out there, vertically challenged. But I actually like short. I think, what do you always say? Big things come in small packages. So.
Oh yeah, great things come in small packages.
Big things.
That doesn't make any sense.
It's the pun of it.
It's great things.
It's great things. Okay, comment in the chat if the saying is great things come from small packages or big things come from small packages. I'm just curious.
That doesn't make any sense.
Okay, you know my mom is the ultimate small person. She's always used that phrase, big things come in small packages. You could swap out the adjective great things.
Jaden's 4'11". Woo woo, join
Oh man. But how old are you, Jaden? That's the thing.
Well, she's about to be 18.
Okay, so she's might
gonna be an adult.
She might Jaden, you might have a little bit of growing left. Whitney is done growing though. She finished at what, 13 when you were 4'10" and a half?
16.
Okay, I'm gonna show the Dumeril's boa. But yeah, shout out to all short people. I'm not even that tall for a guy, honestly. I used to be 5'9", but now I'm 5'8" and a half, and I'm like so I'm so depressed about that because I don't know where that extra half an inch went. But
well, you are getting old.
Yes, thank you for reminding me. So, remember what I was saying about Dumeril's boa's temperament? The cool thing about them is they're a little bit bigger than a ball python, right? So whenever you handle a ball python, you're like, okay, this is a pretty snake. It comes in a lot of morphs. It's a really popular niche of the reptile world. But sometimes when you're holding a ball python, it just doesn't do it for you. You want something bigger, something bulkier, something more challenging, right? And that's where boas come in. But when you're talking about the common BCI boas, those BCI boas can get 9 to 10 feet long, and boas are naturally built thicker than pythons. So a 10-foot boa could be pretty intimidating for most people. But Dumeril's boas, you're looking at somewhere between 6 to 8 feet or so, and a very well-tempered animal that has a great pattern. The only downside, 2 downsides to Dumeril's boas, they don't currently have any known morphs. So they don't come in any different colors or patterns, but they have, he's grabbing onto the chair. They're so strong when they grab onto something. You see that?
He sees his children.
Yeah. Oh, is his head under there? Oh, his head is under there. Okay. Let's get him close. So they're so cool anyway, well-mannered.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure, Jaden, I'm sure it is. It is nerve-wracking, at least for me, having a boa around your neck.
They're what? They're what?
Nerve-wracking having a boa around your neck.
It can be, guys, and I'm always conscious of my eyes, right? Because if you go on YouTube, you could see a bunch of reptile videos right now where like people like go to kiss the reptile and it like bites them on the lips, and I'm always conscious about my eyes because boas do have long teeth. But as this guy is around my neck right now, I'm literally studying his movement. And it doesn't mean that I'm impenetrable. And it doesn't mean that I'm... Oh, my gosh. I don't want him to knock this over.
Yeah.
He does see his babies, huh?
Yeah.
And that's another thing about boas, guys. They're very active and explorative. You know what I mean? So they're just so cool. But anyway, I'm really feeling his sensitivity out right now. If he was like aggressive, twitchy, you know, that would make me a little bit more nervous. But just on guard wise, I'm kind of keeping an eye on where his head is so I can keep my face like twitching distance away from it.
Look at his tail real quick. Do you see like blood?
No, but they do have kind of pinkish bellies, which is another
It just looked like it in the...
Yeah, it does. You can see it's pinkish, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does it show on camera?
It's just no, it just with my vision it looked red, but
yeah, Dumeril's boas have a pink hue to them. So what people try to do with Dumeril's boas, like the same way people breed leopard geckos and line breed them for more orange geckos, people try to line breed Dumeril's boas for more pink hues. But the problem is when it takes, 3 to 4 years to raise up a female to breed, it's just tough to line breed when you're talking about waiting 3 years. You know what I mean? But
sure.
If you're just looking for a cool snake, like just a cool snake that you could whip out when someone comes over your house and they're like, let me see something challenging, and you whip out like a leopard gecko and they're like, oh, that's not so bad. Like, that's not so scary. You bring out one of these and then they're like, I don't want to touch it. You know what I mean? So
yeah, if you ever like don't want your neighbors coming over, just show them your reptile. Yeah, so that's a really good idea, Crescent, for most people handling boas over 6 feet to have spotters. Yeah, I mean, I would say I'm definitely his spotter. I'm not as familiar with snake behavior as he is, but I mean, I know, kind of basic...
You would drive me to the hospital if we needed it.
Well, I know kind of like basic strike pose and things like that. And I'm pretty cautious, but yeah. So Ivan, we'll get to that albino question when we get to the geckos.
Yeah, we're gonna go to the gecko room right now.
Unless you have to go, yes, we do have an albino gecko.
Yeah, we do have an albino gecko. A couple of them. And we can show geckos too. That's why I wanted Whitney here tonight also, so that I could be hands-free and kind of show you guys stuff while she is there.
Hey, so, Emote says, my leopard gecko said, to remind you, big things come in small packages.
That's true. That's true. That's true. I appreciate that. That should actually be Crescent. Put that on one of the designs. No, but Crescent draws the designs. So she's coming up with like cool designs and like logos. So Emote, we're probably going to put that on some kind of merchandise design. So Crescent is designing a line of different designs for us. So Crescent, if you could put that on some kind of leopard gecko design, big things come in small packages, and then like draw a picture that's appropriate to that, that'd be pretty cool. So I'm actually going to shut the lights off in here because some of the ball pythons that did not eat last night, I just put new rats in there, and then we're going to come back and see if they ate them later. So we're going to kill the lights in here, wash my hands with soap and water, and then we're moving to the gecko room. Oh, I found a cat hair up here. I wonder who's up here. A cat could not be a criminal, huh? It would just... Look at her.
Well, why?
Because they leave hair everywhere. They'll never get away with anything.
Yeah.
Come on out, hon. I'm going to close the door.
You wouldn't be a criminal, huh? No, you're too cute.
She is too cute for a criminal. You hear that? Yeah?
She's so sweet.
She likes being around us like Ariel. She wants to be where the people are. But she won't let us hold her, but we can take baby steps and pet her. So I'm going to go into the gecko room, hon. I just need to wash my hands real quick.
Which gecko room? Oh, this one. The one with the cockroaches where you can barely breathe. Yeah, Jaden, for sure we'll get to your question because that's super important. Yes, dubia roaches.
What's his question?
So Jaden has a gecko that is carrying eggs.
That what?
She has a gecko that's carrying eggs.
Okay.
You know, and she's, let's see. We'll wait till he comes back in where he can hear us.
Did you ask the question?
No, I was waiting for you.
Okay.
Okay. So, Jaden says she has a gecko that's carrying eggs. She's acting very lethargic and grumpy and fidgety. Is that normal?
Yes, that is normal. Not every gecko will act grumpy and fidgety or go on hunger strikes, but that is common for females that are breeding or even females that are next to other females that are breeding. Let me use the example again with this girl. So this is a girl, and I'll just hold it and you can film it. This is a girl that was about 30%. You can see she's naturally lean, but she was even 30% skinnier than this. Her tail was about the width of the base of her tail. Very skinny for a leopard gecko. You know why? Because she did not eat for 6 months. And the only reason that I could come up with is either brumation, which leopard geckos really don't brumate here in America because we keep them in temperature controlled areas. But even if she went into brumation, she shouldn't have gone into brumation for 6 months. That's a pretty long time. So it's either brumation or the rest of the females that are breeding around here, they've all been breeding since about December area, you know? And so maybe it was a combination of she stopped eating because of brumation, and then she also stopped eating because the other females were beginning to breed. So it's a little bit more rare. Most females, I would say 95% of females will not give you any eating problems when they're going through breeding. But there is that 5% of females that will go off of food. They won't eat. Their attitude and demeanor will change. So yes, that is absolutely common. But as you can see, she's eating now. Her tail is girthy. She put on weight, and she's even ovulating. I tried to pair her. She started ovulating like 3 weeks ago. I tried to pair her, and to only one male. She wouldn't pair to that male. I've tried a couple of times. Sometimes you have to try different males, but I didn't want to try different males with her because my original concern when she was getting skinny was I thought she had parasites. And even though I'm 99% sure right now that she does not have parasites, and it was simply just a hunger strike that she went on because of brumation or because of breeding season, I just don't want to take that chance that just in case she did, I don't want to pass that along to any of our healthy geckos. So I chose one male to try to breed to her, a male that I could isolate and kind of keep an eye on, you know, but obviously if she had parasites, she would be getting skinnier, and she's not getting skinnier. She's actually getting fatter and putting back on weight. She's just naturally slender, long and lengthy, if anyone can relate to that.
Yeah, so Wally says it could be a shed thing too, you know, if she hasn't eaten for a few days. Yeah, true. They will eat their sheds and stuff. The very unique thing about that girl, I've never had any of my geckos go 6 months without eating. It's an absolute trip to think that this gecko just decided not to eat for 6 months. Had me scared that she had parasites or crypto or that she was withering away. And again, none of our other geckos have parasites or crypto or any of that. So in my head, I'm like, I give her the same procedure as everybody else. How could she have gotten, you know, like a parasite, like a deadly parasite or something? And it had me a little bit worried for a while, to where I bought a microscope and I was going to do stool tests. I never wound up doing that. And then right when I was getting closer to doing the stool test, she just starts eating and putting on weight and pooping normal. And so now, I don't know, there's really no reason to do the stool test, but just something to keep in mind. Geckos can go on hunger strikes. Their poop can change when you change their food because there's different bacteria and stuff in their system that's used to breaking down a certain type of food. If you change their diet, it can actually, you know, make them have diarrhea and stuff like that. That's another common question that I've been getting recently from people that have been going through issues around this time period. And a lot around this time period has to do with brumation, because this is the natural time of year where it's a little bit colder around the United States, and also breeding, because this is also the natural time of year where geckos are breeding. So people's geckos have been going through different biological changes, and it's concerning some people. But in 9 out of 10 cases, the changes that your gecko is going through is nothing to worry about. 1 out of 10 times, it probably is something to worry about. But most of the time, it's not something to worry about. Just talk to someone who has a little bit more experience or has been through some stuff. Like, you can always ask us questions. I'm not like super deep into the game, but I mean, I've been in and around reptiles my whole life, on and off, and more seriously now for the last 5 years, and breeding more seriously for the last 3 years. So I have some experience to bring to the table, you know. So plus I just research a lot, right, hon? Like, how much do I research stuff? A lot. Hey, what's up, Geckoasis?
Oh, Geckoasis! What's up, Chris? I'm gonna show his show off his thing. It's on the rack right there. His feeder bowl dish.
Oh yeah. Well, that's Geckopia. You can't hear me. That's Geckopia.
Yeah.
I said they're the same thing?
Geckopia and Chris, yeah.
Geckoasis?
Oh, Geckoasis. Oh, sorry, Geckoasis. I thought you were Geckopia for a second. But what's going on? So we're in the gecko room now. We're out of the snake room. So if you want to watch a little bit about some Dumeril's boas babies that we had and some snake talk, you could go back and watch the first half of this live stream. But now we're in the gecko room, and we're just going to spend a little bit of time in here talking geckos, showing geckos. We're still getting babies every single day, which is pretty cool. There's a couple babies that are out right now. So the lighting is going to be a little bit tough.
Watch out.
So the babies are still in the stage right now where they are not showing their best colors. But these babies were mainly like a yellowish color when they were born, which is common for tangerine babies. These are tangerine tremper leopard geckos. They will turn like dead orange within the next like 2 months as they grow and mature.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Okay, so we have a question. Josh says, how often do leopard geckos ovulate? If she absorbs her ovulation, when could I expect her to ovulate again?
So great question. Take a look at this one because this is a cool gecko. So leopard gecko females will ovulate. Let me think how to say this. So leopard gecko females will ovulate one time a year, or they will start ovulating a certain time a year. After that, they will ovulate about every 2 to 3 weeks throughout their season until they go through about and you know they're not going to always have this many ovulations, but until they go through about 7 to 8 ovulations. Okay,
that's train it to go in the corner.
No, but they do. Geckos are known to like pick a corner, you know.
Well, that's
Can you see the colors of this one?
Mm-hmm.
So this one's really cool. Who was asking the question a second ago?
Josh.
Okay, let me focus. Let me focus real quick. Okay, Josh, I appreciate your question. Now that I'm focused, in the wild, leopard gecko females will normally ovulate around January. Will be their first ovulation of the year. And ovulation is the beginning of 2 eggs. So when a female is ovulating, she will lay clutches of 2 because she has 2 ovulations going on inside of her every single period that she has ovulations. And this is how ovulations work in leopard geckos. Let's say it's January and your female starts ovulating January 1st. You have about 2 to 3 weeks to pair that female up. Well, a little bit less than that. You have about a week to a week and a half to pair that female up before those ovulations start fresh for the next cycle. So when a female starts ovulating, as soon as she starts ovulating, within the first couple of days, we pair her. And then if that ovulation has sperm to fertilize that ovulation will most likely grow into an egg. And she will lay 2 eggs 2 weeks later. So she starts ovulating, you pair her right away within the first couple days of ovulation. She will then turn those ovulations into eggs, and she will lay babies about 2 to 3 weeks later. As soon as she lays those eggs, then she will begin ovulating a new cycle and lay new eggs about 2 to 3 weeks after that. So she will do that repetitively over the course of about 3 to 4 months. Every gecko is going to be a little bit different each year. Some geckos will go through, that's called a clutch. When a female ovulates 2 ovulations, it's called a clutch when it turns into 2 eggs. So a female will typically go anywhere from, let's see, 4 to 6 clutches in a year is probably about the average for a female that is less than 5 years old. As the females get older, there is some data out there to suggest that their clutch count starts to go down. But within the first 5 years, you're probably going to see averages of about 2 eggs per clutch and then maybe 4 to 6 clutches a year. So that's going to be a total of anywhere between, let's just say 6 to 10 eggs on average. Not all of those eggs are going to be good. We have plenty of eggs here that are not good, but that's just kind of the routine they go through. I feel like they did a horrible job explaining that. I don't know why it seems so complicated to me right now. But in general, a female is going to ovulate. Pair her up as soon as you see her ovulating. As soon as you see her lock with the male, expect eggs 2 to 3 weeks later. And then expect eggs every 3 weeks for the course of about 3 to 4 months until that gecko is done. We just had some of our females in here. They started laying in December and January, and they're done now. They've laid somewhere between like 8 to 12 eggs each, and they're all done laying for the year. They've stopped ovulating, and this is now their rest time where they can regain their body fat percentage, re-soak up those nutrients, because in about 7 to 8 months, they're going to start ovulating again, and we start the process all over again. So let me know if I was too confusing and didn't answer your question, and I'll try to clear it up.
Hey, thanks, Ivan, for another $1. That's awesome.
Appreciate it, Ivan. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, in answer to your question, yeah, my favorite is I would have to say it's a tie between the tangerine and the black knight. I mean, together they make Halloween colors. I love Halloween. I love the orange by itself. I love the black by itself. They're really pretty.
Yeah. So we got, there's the contrast basically between orange and black. Orange is the new black, I guess. Just kidding. This is actually a male and female. So one day we might pair these two together. But for now, this female is scheduled to produce some very nice tangerine babies for us. So, and she's pretty hefty and she's pretty big. This was her first year breeding, and we really did not have that good of a first year with her. She, what did we have? Her first like 6 eggs were bad. Then she had 1 good egg and 1 bad egg. Then she had 2 bad eggs and then 2 good eggs. And then now she has a couple eggs left in the incubator right now, which like 3 of them are bad and I think 2 of them are good. So not the best fertility year with this girl. Whenever I see fertility issues, I repair the male and the female. So we've actually repaired her a couple times this season. And turns out it's probably not the sperm that was the issue. It's just that sometimes, especially with first-year females, older females, or just animals in general, right? You can't always guarantee the odds of stuff. You know what I mean? You can't guarantee the odds of everything coming out perfectly. It would be great. We try everything we can. We try everything we can to hit those odds as perfectly as possible. But that's why whenever you have a breeding project or a breeding collection, you want to have multiple animals in that collection. Multiple males that you can use as backups. Multiple females that you could use to deliver the types of babies that you want. Because you can never 100% guarantee. This was our most beautiful female this year. I was really looking forward to some of the stuff that she would produce. And guess what? So far, she's produced 3 good babies out of like 10 eggs. 3 out of 10. So pretty bad odds for this girl. Now, it is her first year, but we have a first-year female up there, Jelly Bean. Some of you guys love Jelly Bean. She laid about 12 good babies her first year and like 2 bad eggs. So just to show you, sometimes it's not about the age of the gecko. It's just about the gecko. Every gecko is different. Every animal is different, just like every person is different, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at Effie sleeping.
I know. Yeah, she's not dead. She's just sleeping.
You can tell when she's waving her tail.
Jada says, is there any way to be able to tell the age of your gecko?
Not unless you know who you got them from and how old they are. You can't tell based on size how old a gecko is necessarily. I would say a possible indicator could be color, because as the gecko gets older and as the gecko goes through more breeding seasons, geckos tend to lose the saturation of their color. And I'll show you what I mean by that. But then again, this is not a reliable metric for every single gecko. But some geckos will just have that older look to them. Like, check out this girl. This girl, I actually don't know her age. I got her from somebody, and that person told me she was already like 3 years old. And that was maybe like 3 years ago. So this girl is probably she's probably somewhere between 6 to 8 years old. And she just kind of has that elderly, mature woman vibe and look to her. I don't know how to describe it.
Menopause?
Yeah, like her colors.
Geckos had menopause.
Yeah, her colors are dull. She's not producing a lot of eggs. Like she has ovulations right now. Let's see if you can catch the ovulations, hon. But she has not been producing a lot of eggs for us. So she actually has 4 good eggs in the incubator right now. But she's on her, I want to say, like 5th pair of ovulations. So she's reabsorbed her ovulations every time prior. So getting back to that guy's question, yes, if a female reabsorbs her ovulations, it probably means she's not fertile with sperm, or it was just bad luck, like luck of the draw, that she decided to reabsorb them. Because usually if she is fertile with sperm, those will turn into eggs. Even if they're not fertile eggs, they will turn into eggs. So, but absolutely, if a girl absorbs an ovulation, she will ovulate again. So she laid 2 clutches for us, and then she's absorbed her last 2 clutches, and she's ovulating again right now. So just to show you, she just kind of has that older lady, mature woman vibe to her. Her breeding is kind of reflecting that, in the sense that she's not popping out eggs and stuff like the younglings tend to do.
Yeah, she's also very calm too.
She's very calm.
Oh, hey, so Crescent says, there's an Arizona snake breeder who needs to rehome his ball pythons. He has a mystic potion, cinnamon queen bee, and a banana enchi mojave, and a jigsaw. Thought you might be interested.
Thank you. Yeah, we're kind of trying not to spend money right now, right, hun? We've built our collection up financially to a point right now where we're trying to grow the rest of everything that we have in-house, just because we don't have the financial capabilities right now to like continue buying new animals. But I appreciate the heads up, because you never know. Sometimes great deals like that come up that you can't pass up. We've invested in so many like good deals and like high quality animals over this last like 1 to 3 years, that like I feel pretty comfortable where we're at right now. But Whitney knows me. You know, back when we were looking to add to our collection, I was on Craigslist every day. I was on Facebook every day. I was on Morph Market every day looking for those deals.
Yeah, I told him to stop.
Yeah, she had to tell me to stop.
I was like, you better not go on Craigslist today.
Yeah, because I love animals, right? And I love looking for a good deal. Good deals are out there. So I appreciate that. I just know that we just don't have the financial capabilities right now of adding more animals to our collection, you know, for high dollar. So I appreciate it, though.
Hey, great question, Jaden. She says she got her female from someone, and she has no idea what gene she carries. How can you determine the genes just by looking at them?
So it's hard to determine the genes just by looking at an animal. If you haven't watched our video on dominant versus recessive, dominant genes show outwardly on the animal if the animal only has 1 copy of that dominant gene. An example of that would be like snow. Let me see if I can actually. Yeah, let me show you what snow does. So snow is something called an incomplete dominant gene. So we're going to go back to our girl right here. When you look at these two geckos, and I don't know if the camera's picking it up, the gecko in my left hand is just like a regular yellowish brown color. This gecko is a little bit more cleaner and brighter, and some of the black coloration on her is purple. Can you see that? How some of the black, like the black banding is like purplish color right there?
Yeah.
So this is something called a snow gecko. It has one copy of the snow gene. So no copies of the snow gene on my arm, one copy of the snow gene in my hand. Now let me show you two copies of the snow gene.
Hey, Crescent says, what day will we be going to Phoenix Reptile Expo?
I think we're going Saturday, right, hon?
Yeah.
It's the 17th and 18th. So I think, Crescent, we normally go Saturday. So I'll let you know, and you let me know also what day you're going so that we can like meet up and say hi and stuff.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, thanks for finishing up the stickers and the art. We're really excited to see it.
We got stickers?
Yeah.
Really?
That's what they said.
Oh, nice. So here is a super snow, which is a beautiful morph. But this animal actually contains two dominant genes. So this is the full expression of the form of carrying two dominant genes. So by looking at the animal, I could tell for sure that this animal is a super snow. What I can't tell is any underlying recessive genes that this animal might have. Now, let me explain. The difference between dominant and recessive. With dominant genes, it makes a visual reaction or effect happen when the animal only has one copy of that gene. With recessive genes, an animal needs two copies of that gene to make a visual effect. Albino is an example of recessive. If an animal is carrying the albino gene, only one copy, it'll look completely normal, and you won't be able to tell that it is carrying one copy of the albino gene because albino is a recessive gene. So I could look at your gecko and I could pretty much tell you what dominant genes are in that gecko, but I can't tell you what one copy recessive genes are in that gecko. Eclipse is recessive. Eclipse is a popular recessive morph that lies in a lot of geckos. Albino is another popular recessive morph that lies in a lot of geckos. In addition to that, some dominant genes are hard to tell if it's in the animal or not. So for the most part with leopard geckos, most of I'm trying to think of one where like I wouldn't be able to tell. Snow is easy to tell. White and yellow is usually pretty easy to tell. What else is dominant or incomplete dominant?
What Jaden says, you won't know if she's het for something unless the male was also het for the same gene.
So if a female is het and a male is het, then all of the babies that are not visual, they will be 66% hets. I'm going to try to... I'm going to see if I can show it on... I'll be right back.
She doesn't even flinch. This cat used to be so scared and skittish. You know, if you just walked up to her, she would run away from you. But now she's not even. She's just so relaxed.
Can you come down here with me, hon?
Mm-hmm.
So again, I have like scientific videos showing this. So if you need the video in detail, message me privately and I'll send you the link, or you can go into my videos history and search for my genetic series. I have like 4 videos on genetics. But let's say, so Eclipse is a recessive gene. And recessive is usually indicated by lowercase letters. So let's say this is the dad up here. Let's say the dad is het for eclipse, only carrying one copy of the eclipse gene. And let's say the mom is also het for eclipse, only carrying one copy of the eclipse gene. The way the Punnett square works, it gives you a certain percentage of how the babies are going to pop out. So this E drops down, this E carries over, and you get a gecko here that is completely not eclipse. This E carries down, that E carries over, and here you get a gecko that is het eclipse. Same thing here, het eclipse, and same thing here, visual eclipse. So this is typically what people are going for. You want the visual. But out of 4 babies, 1 baby is non-visual, 1 baby is visual, and 2 babies are carrying 1 copy of the eclipse gene. How do you know which babies are carrying the copy of the eclipse gene, though? Because this is a recessive morph, only this animal shows that it has the eclipse gene. These 3 animals right here all look the same, except they're not the same. 2 of them are het for eclipse. 1 of them is not het for eclipse. Now your odds are a 1. See that? The one that is not het for eclipse is a 1 out of 3 chance, which is 33%. The 2 that are het eclipse, it's a 2 out of 3 chance, and it is 66% het. But they all look the same, and that's the key. So whenever someone says an animal is 66% het for something, it just means that the breeder cannot tell which animals are het and which animals are not het, because 1 out of 3 are not het, 2 out of 3 are het, but they all look the same. And so therefore, they just say that all 3 of these animals are 66% het for eclipse. So that's what happens when you take a het to a het. But when you take a visual to a non-visual, that's when you get 100% hets. So I'm going to show that real quick. And this might be kind of people, some of the more experienced people might know this already. But let's say the dad is a visual eclipse, lowercase e, and the mom is not an eclipse at all. She has uppercase E. She is not carrying the eclipse gene at all. Each one of these squares, though, are going to carry a lowercase e because the dad is a visual, and all he has to pass on is one or the other. I do a much longer and a much better job explaining it in my genetics series. I have 4 videos on genetics and 4 videos on visual morphs, so you can check those out if you want. But let me know if you need further explanation, but that's basically it. To get 100% hets, you need a visual parent. Otherwise, if it's het to het, you're going to get 66% chances. So, did I go off on a tangent? Did I miss a question?
No, we got quite a few het questions right now.
Look at Effie. Oh, there's more het questions?
Well, het comments.
Oh, okay. Cool.
No, Jaden, that's fine. Ask all the questions.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Ask all the questions you need, guys, because that's why we're here, okay?
It is. And I love this stuff, guys. I appreciate everybody at every level. I only say some people might know that stuff because, there's different stages of experience where everyone's at right now. But I love being able to teach every level that I can. And I think everybody usually the people that follow our channel over here, they're the same. They're educators, they're teachers, they're people who love to support each other. So as much as possible, we will always promote support on this channel. And it shows, like in the chat, I'm sure a lot of you guys talk in the chat and support each other. I know a lot of our followers have began conversations and friendships with each other. So don't worry, this is completely a free zone to ask any question that you desire,
Hey, Cameron says, hey, thanks. Yeah, he's, they say they love our videos. They got a male mandarin
Nice.
tangerine rainwater albino
Good
from
stuff.
Urban Reptile.
Urban Reptile's great, by the way.
And they're wondering if pairing him with his I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm assuming gender. Their typhoon female would make some cool babies. So we got, to recap, a male mandarin tangerine rainwater albino and a typhoon female.
Okay, so if I'm remembering correctly, because I don't really work with the rainwater too much, I believe the typhoon is the eclipse rainwater albino combination. Maybe snow in there, right? But yeah, as long as you're combining rainwater to rainwater albino, you're going to make some beautiful combinations with those genetics, my friend. That's a lot of genetics to be mixing into one concoction pot of creation, and I think it's great.
Awesome. So Jacob says on top of the warm hide is 95.
Okay.
But inside is 85 to 90. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Leopard geckos need about 87 to 90 degrees to digest their food. So I would say that you're perfect. And the cool side, you want to be, if possible, you want that to be somewhere between like 75 to 85. And then, of course, the warm side, 85 to 90. So it sounds like you're right in that zone. That sounds good.
Going back to hets, Thurman Merman says, do most people just sell as a possible het?
Yeah, there are a lot of people that will sell 66% hets. Now, 66% sounds like really good odds, right? But you could buy a 66% het animal and it could turn out not to be het. So I just want you to keep that in mind. A lot of people are think in their mind like, oh, it's over 50%. Like, this is going to be great. It's going to be het for sure, but it's not. It's still really a 50-50 chance of whether that gecko inherited the genes from its parents or not. So here, hon, I'm going to show something here real quick. So you have dad on one side and you have mom on the other side, right? Dad, excuse my vulgarness here. Dad has sperm.
It's not vulgar. It's just science.
Excuse my,
it's just facts.
Excuse my visual science here. But dad has sperm, mom has egg. All the genes inside of dad are going to have 2 copies. And all the genes inside the mom are going to have 2 copies. When the sperm meets the egg, so this is called gametes, first of all. A sperm is a gamete, an egg is a gamete. It carries half of your parents' DNA. So let me reverse just for a second. Your dad's DNA looks like this. Your dad's DNA looks like that. I'm sure you've seen these pictures of how DNA looks like a ladder. Oh, that's a defective DNA right there. But DNA has 2 strands of data. Picture this as a strand of data. This wavy line is one strand of data. This other wavy line is another strand of data. When your dad makes a sperm, the sperm contains only one of these strands of data, only one piece of the information that gets passed on to you. So let's just say hypothetically, here is an example of dad's genes. On this side, we have gene X. And on, sorry. Let me do this. On this side, we have gene Y. And on this side, we have gene X. And so your dad, when your dad makes all of his little sperm, his sperm is only going to carry half of his DNA. So this sperm right here might carry gene Y. And this sperm might carry gene X. And this sperm might carry gene Y. And same for the mom. So all of the DNA that your parents have gets split in half and passed into the egg and passed into the sperm and the egg to create your specific strand of DNA. Did I just go on another tangent again?
Yeah.
Okay. It's so hard to explain like in short. I have really good videos that take like 30 to 40 minutes to explain this stuff. But that's the general census of it. This is you. What is you? You are a wavy line of DNA. This DNA strand contains information. Let's just say info. Hair color, eye color, skin color, maybe even smartness, muscular
Maybe
strength,
even
intelligence. As you can see,
just maybe.
Yeah, mine doesn't carry that much. So anyway,
No.
this strand of DNA carries information from your dad. This strand of DNA carries information from your mom. Info, hair color, eye color, skin color, smart color. I was looking at my wife to see how she reacted. Smartness, intelligence, i.e.
Smart color?
So, anyway, this strand of DNA is you. DNA. It contains half of your dad's genes, half of your mom's genes. This came from your mom's egg. This came from your dad's sperm. And so, whenever you have an eclipse leopard gecko, it's only going to, the eclipse leopard gecko or any leopard gecko is only going to pass on half of its parents' DNA. And that's where Punnett squares come into the equation. So as you can see with the Punnett square, you have dad up here and mom over here. If dad is het, eclipse, he's only carrying one copy of the eclipse gene to pass on into this Punnett square. And if mom is not eclipse at all, she's carrying two normal genes to pass on into the Punnett square. So I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, he loves genetics.
Yeah, I do love genetics, which is another reason why leopard geckos are such a great entry-level animal. They're easy to care for. They come in so many beautiful colors, and you could really learn and have a lot of fun experimentation around with odds and genetics. So it's hard for me to explain right now, but if you want to know more, it's really, really cool when you start to learn about the odds and the percentages and the chances of genetics popping out. So.
No, don't do that. Don't wake her up.
She'll stay here. Is it raining outside? Oh, it's the cockroaches. It's like, that's rare for Arizona.
We have some more questions.
Okay. She looks so comfortable. I just want to like sleep on her.
I know, but don't do that because then
She's radiating warmth too.
I know. So yeah, Jaden, she's worried about egg binding. She says, do you have any tips to prevent that?
So I have not seen any research online to prevent egg binding. Again, small geckos can produce eggs and have no problem. And large geckos can get egg bound and have many problems. I have 2 large geckos in my collection this year that got egg bound for about 2 months. And they were large geckos, like large females. And their eggs would not pass out of their body for 2 months. Once it goes over 1 month, okay, let me sit up and be serious right now. So last year I had a female gecko. Let me show her to you. This is Nadia. She's a bell albino leopard gecko. She's a little bit on the smaller side, but again, I've had big leopard geckos that do this too. She got egg bound last year for, I want to say it was 4 months, 4 to 5 months. she was carrying an egg inside of her and eventually laid it. And it was a big, soft, squishy egg by that time. I tried to give her warm baths. I tried to give her belly rubs. I tried to make sure she had enough food, fresh water on a regular basis. None of that helped. And so I have not found anything to prevent egg binding, and I have not found anything to actually help egg binding. A lot of people say give the gecko a bath. Every one of my geckos that get egg bound, which is a couple a year, I give them a bath and it never seems to help. I give them fresh water and it never seems to help. I make sure they have calcium and food and it never seems to help. I massage their tummy and give them a warm bath and it never seems to help. So personally, from my experience, I have not uncovered anything to prevent egg binding or to even help it when it happens, except prayer and time, right? And I know that's not what you want to hear. We want a fix-it solution. But honestly, when my females get egg bound now, because I've tried stuff before in the past and it didn't help, I might give them a bath every now and then. But for the most part, I just give them time. I give them space. I let them do their thing. And I just really, really hope and pray that those eggs pass, which so far, every time for me, they've passed. I've never been unlucky or unfortunate right now like some people have where it actually kills their geckos. But that's my experience with it so far. But it has happened to me the last 2 breeding seasons. And again, it happened to her this season again. She held on to an egg for about a month and a half and then finally laid it. And also a big gecko that I have held on to an egg for about a month and a half, 2 months, and then finally laid that egg as well. So it just happens, guys. Sometimes it's really hard to prevent things from happening in this hobby and industry because we are dealing with live animals, right? If you think about it, how many humans go through birth problems, you know? Like nowadays we have C-section, but before C-section, what was that show you used to watch, hon? The nursing show?
Call the Midwife.
Call the Midwife. I used to come into the room and Whitney would be watching this crazy midwife show, and the midwives would be like popping and probing and turning the babies inside of the mother's womb because they didn't have, or it was much harder for them to do C-section, or they didn't have C-section way back like a few hundred years ago, you know? Now we have C-section. If you have trouble giving birth, you can just do a C-section and they'll pull the baby right out. But before the C-section days, I'm sure there was a lot of mothers that would, you know, unfortunately die from pregnancies, or they would have to like actually turn the baby inside of the mother's womb. Like there's a lot of things that go wrong with live birth, and the same even with eggs and geckos, because we're imperfect animals, right? So
yeah, I mean, they actually still do that. They still turn the babies, and you know, during Call the Midwife, they were doing C-sections, because that was like during 1940s. But yeah, I mean, before they had the knowledge and all the materials to do C-sections, you know, there was a lot of stillborns and
mothers dying.
Yeah, a lot of that. So, you know, if that happened for humans, unfortunately, it happens a lot more for animals.
Yeah. So I know we want perfect track record and perfect clutches, but unfortunately, it just doesn't seem like that is a capable thing for us when we are keeping and breeding animals. So we just sort of have to take it, just keep it in mind, you know, that anything can happen with these animals. So sorry, I hope that helped, but I do have some experience over the last 2 years with egg bound. This girl, 4 to 5 months, finally passed it on her own after a couple warm baths and just giving her constantly fresh water. And same thing with her this year and another gecko this year. A couple of baths and some warm water baths and fresh water, and that's the best recommendation I could give. And even then, they did not pass the eggs right away. I gave her warm baths at like month 1.5 to 2, and she still didn't pass the egg for another 3 months past that. So
yeah.
Let me see how she's doing.
Yeah, just try and keep her as comfortable as possible.
Yeah, try to keep her as comfortable as possible. Maybe don't mess with her so much. You know, like don't pick her up so much. Give her space. Make sure she has a dark, humid, warm hide to relax in. That might be able to help. A warm bath every now and then. If you have the ability to give her a warm bath every single day, maybe try that. That might help.
Let's see. Let me go to the questions that present not so fun scenarios. Okay, so Jay Harris says, have any of your female geckos laid their fertile eggs outside of the humid hide in cocoa fiber? My one female gave me 2 eggs today outside of the hide, and they were stuck but fertile.
Yeah, I have had that happen. I know there's a theory out there that the geckos will only lay eggs outside of their humid hide if the eggs are bad. But I have found eggs outside of the humid hide every now and then with embryos inside of them. So I incubate everything. I found eggs in the water bowl with embryos inside of them. I found eggs stuck together on dry newspaper with embryos inside of them. So yeah, I would incubate it, and if they got embryos, incubate it, and hopefully it turns into babies.
Awesome. Hey, Crescent, is gonna be there on Saturday.
Nice.
They sent you the artwork.
That's so cool.
So excited.
Yeah, so again, Crescent is gonna be sort of one of, she's like our only designer right now, but I mean, if anyone wants to come up with like little design stuff, but she had it in her heart to put together some designs, logo designs and stuff like that, or not just logo, but like what is it called? Like animation designs for fun that we could put on merchandise, like coffee cups, stickers, shirts, hats, socks, masks. So if those are things that you guys are interested in, I have to pre-order them ahead of time. So like it takes money to invest into those things before I can have them available. But the more of you guys that are telling me that you want that kind of stuff or willing to pre-order and pay for that stuff ahead of time, we can definitely get you merchandise. Next year, when we're making more money, we're probably going to have merchandise on stock. But for this year, where we don't really have capital and like revenue coming in, it's hard to spend like $200 to $300 on merchandise and to not know if it's gonna, sell, especially right now when, we have other expenses and stuff that need to take priority. But next year we will definitely have merchandise on stock. And so Crescent is so nice to put together some designs for us, that some cool and fun and animated designs that we could probably throw into some of our merchandise, like stickers and shirts and stuff like that. So
yeah, thank you so much, Crescent. That is really awesome.
And look forward to seeing you on Saturday. We normally go 11 to 12 in the afternoon, but we'll definitely like message you and let you know what time we'll be there, and maybe wait in line together, because reptile shows, anyone who's going to be in the Phoenix area, there is a reptile show in Mesa, Arizona coming up on April 17th and 18th. Yeah.
Yeah, Jaden. So, wow, Jaden says she would be willing to draw something for us for free. She really likes drawing.
Yeah, that would be really, really cool. And I'll always share the artwork too. Like if you share it with me. So something really cool that Crescent has the ability to do is what's called a transparent image. So anytime someone draws a logo or an animation, the background has to be made into a transparent image for us to put that onto a merchandise like a t-shirt. So if you know how to do that, that's great. But if you don't know how to do that, still send us the image anyway, because I'm sure I'll promote it and like, put it on our social media and be like, hey, look what such and such drew for us. Very, very cool. So, but if you do know how to make those transparent images, that's like number one type stuff right there. That's awesome, because then we can put that onto any background, like a t-shirt, a sock, a mask, a coffee mug, a sticker. And if you don't, I can actually probably as long as you put the design onto like a green screen or onto like a white background, something that I can remove the color of the background, I can probably make it into a transparent image with this website called lunapic.com. So if you're an artist and you don't know about how to make the backgrounds of your images transparent, do a couple YouTube searches on how to use lunapic.com. But it is a great platform where you could take a design that just has like a white background, a black background, whatever solid color background, and you could use lunapic.com and it will create a transparent background for you out of that image. It's really, really cool.
Squawkums says right now they have a female gecko that hasn't been eating for around 3 months.
Okay.
They've tried mealworms, dubias, crickets, but nothing seems to work. Is there anything else they can try?
How old is she? Because if she's going through breeding stages, like even if you don't have her with a male, some females will still ovulate. Their bodies are going through those hormonal changes and they might food strike for a couple of months. Like I said, I had that one girl, if you missed the beginning of this video, I had one girl of mine that she wasn't even ovulating. She was just sensing the hormonal changes happening in our breeding room, and she went off food for 6 months. But check your heating. Make sure your warm side is about 87 to 90 degrees. Make sure your cool side is about 80 to 85 degrees. Make sure the gecko has a humid, warm area that's about 80 to 85 degrees for them to, that's dark for them to relax in. And if you've done all of that and you've given them food, supplements, vitamin, calcium, and they're still rejecting the food and you've tried different food items, they could just be going through brumation and or breeding hormonal changes. So as long as they're not getting super skinny, and even if they are getting super skinny, try not to worry too much because our girl over here went 6 months without food. She was pooping green. I thought she had a parasite. Turns out it was just that she was going through the hormonal changes of, you know, animals are very sensitive. They can sense what's going on in the room. And all the other geckos that were going through breeding, she just sensed that. And she just didn't eat for us for 6 months. So
yeah, so weird.
It is kind of weird. Really that's a little bit more rare, but it can happen. So if you're ever really, really concerned, start a conversation on me through Facebook, Messenger, Instagram, or email, GeekyGeckoCreations@gmail.com. I'm sure there's a lot of people in the chat that can attest to, if you message me through any of those platforms, I will talk to you a little bit more personally. I'll also have you send me some pictures so I could just make sure I can visually look at your I can look at your setup. I could look at your gecko and see if anything just looks off. So again, GeekyGeckoCreations@gmail.com, or message me on Facebook or Instagram or Messenger, and I will talk to you a little bit deeper, look at the pictures you have. But yeah, I wouldn't be too worried about it. Our gecko here that went on a 6-month hunger strike, she was getting super, super skinny, and I was really getting worried about it, thinking she had parasites, but she just began eating out of nowhere. Geckos are masterfully designed for low caloric intake, and they can go many, many months without it even posing a threat to their life. So,
all right, there's one question I missed from Jim Kirkman.
Jim, what's up, Jim?
So going back to ball pythons, he says, what temperature do you incubate your ball python eggs?
So this is going to be our first year incubating ball python eggs. The typical temperature that we're going to shoot for is 88 to 89 degrees. If you have any ball pythons that have known issues, for example, kinking of the tails for black pastel to black pastel combinations, or even any of the other combinations that might cause problems, like spider or champagne, or I think maybe like super cinnamon. There's a lot of combinations that I'd have to research all the combinations that cause problems. But any of the combinations that cause problems, people have been finding some success recently incubating them at lower temperatures between 85 to 86 degrees. So that would be my recommendation. If you're breeding together any snakes that have like kinking problems or neurological defect issues or anything like that, you might want to incubate around 86 degrees. And if you're incubating normal snakes that don't have any issues, you're probably looking at about 88 to 89 degrees. Yeah, and you don't really want it going above 90, so just keep that in mind. If you have temperature fluctuations in your incubator, then you just want to keep that in mind so you can set the temperature appropriately, you know. So I hope that helped, Jim. Good luck. This is our first season as well. We will be incubating ball python eggs for the first time this year also. And every single person, like every single hobbyist, takes what other hobbyists have done that have proven to be successful. They replicate it in their own collection, and then they make little tweaks to it, right? So the way that we do our leopard geckos here, the way we incubate them, the way we breed them, the way we feed them, all has come from knowledge that I've studied from other people, and then knowledge that I've studied in observing my own collection to see what works best. So to some degree, every hobbyist has to be a scientist and not a scientist, an observationalist. I'll put it that way. You got to be an observationalist to a certain degree of what works best in your environment and setup. And I know that's not the answer you want. Everyone wants just like, tell me what to do and I'll do it. And I can do that. But in addition to that, observe your animals and make minor adjustments depending on what works best for you. Just a real brief, quick example of that is somebody down in Florida might have a house that has about 40 to 50% humidity inside of it because Florida is a very humid state. Whereas down here in Arizona, we have about 15 to 20% humidity inside of our house. So that being said, just keep that in mind. That's just like one example of somebody in Florida who has a higher humidity in their house. They might not need to spray down their ball pythons tubs as much for shedding purposes. Whereas us here in Arizona, we have to spray down our ball pythons tubs at least once a week to keep that humidity up so that they can shed okay, you know? So that's just an example, but.
I'm getting hungry.
Yeah. So what time is it?
9:13.
Oh, so we actually went a little bit past. Was that pretty much all questions?
We have some more. I mean, if you feel like you want to stay and answer some, you can.
Thank you. It looks like we made $14.95 on this super chat. And just to give you guys a shout out, everybody who donated last month to our super chat, we made $175 total last month off of YouTube. That's ads and super chat. We only made $50 off of ads. So that means the rest came from support of you guys and this channel and our goal and our vision here. So we really appreciate that. It's another reason why we love to do super chat, like live streams and stuff, is not only to get interactive with you, but it's a great way to, just support the hobby and support what we're doing over here. So I really, really appreciate that, guys. So yeah, Crescent, I really look forward to your designs. We did want to, Whitney was telling me earlier when we started the live stream, she's like, we're only going to go for what? Like an hour or something. We went a little, we're at like an hour and 45 minutes now, almost hour, 40 minutes. So yeah,
I think it gets really interesting and
it does.
It gets really fun. I mean, your guys' questions and comments make it interesting for us.
It really does. I really have fun with these live streams, guys. I know I'm getting a little tired right now, just like talking, and my eyes are like a little bit sleepy. And I know Whitney's hungry. But I really appreciate your guys' questions. If I did not answer any questions, please email me personally and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. You could also message me on Facebook or Instagram. Crescent and anyone else who's willing to do some animation or logo or just fun gecko designs for us or snake designs or whatever kind of designs you want. I have some slogans and stuff that I want to put into designs. Like, have a geeky gecko great day. Crescent is doing a design for us for that. Big things come in small packages. That's another cool design. So thank you. Stay Gucci too, Jacob. Anyone who's younger, I'm 33 years old now. I need you to help me stay in tune with the young lingo, okay? So stay Gucci, savage, lit. I need you to talk like that to me so I can replicate it.
I'm 25, so I don't know if I'm that young and into
people say I was rocking the cradle a little bit.
The teenage stuff anymore, even though I do teach 5th graders.
Fun fact before we leave, we are 8 years and 8 days and 8 minutes apart.
8 minutes?
Not 8 minutes. We're 8 years and 8 days apart, Whitney and I. And my birthday is 1988. Isn't that super interesting? She's 8 years and 8 days younger than me, and my birthday is 1988. Crazy. But, wow, Crescent, you're a lot younger than I thought. But, yeah, really appreciate you guys for being here, for commenting, driving up our popularity on YouTube, for every minute that you watch, every engagement that you ask questions. All of that helps. Of course, the people who are donating super chats, that's extremely helpful as well. It just goes towards supporting the business over here, allowing us to grow and expand. So, yeah, sorry, Kyle. We're just about to sign off. But if you want, you can rewatch this video and check it out. There's some great topics and visuals and animals that we went through. Whitney's going to go eat. I'm probably going to drink some water, relax, and maybe eat a little bit myself. I'm going to do another vote on when we should do our... Yeah, lucky number 8. When we should do our next live stream. But like I said, I've been a little busy this last week moving some stuff around, you know, moving the Dumeril's boas and the snake room, but also making those last 2 videos. So if you haven't seen our last 2 videos, we go through all leopard gecko morphs, and I don't remember the last video I made, but they're both really good. Check them out. And whenever I make a lot of videos in a week, it usually takes a little bit away from the live stream time that I do. But since I'm not really planning, I don't know if I'm planning any new videos this week. I'll probably be on more live streams and tuning in with you guys. So thank you guys so much again. Appreciate you guys. We're really going to sign off this time. But bye, everybody. And Frank and Whitney signing out. Let's see if we can say it at the same time right now. You know what I'm going to say?
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to say, right?
Yeah.
Let's see if she really knows. Let's see if my wife really knows me, okay? On the count of 3, we're going to say our exit line, and let's see if she remembers what I told her our exit line is last time, okay? So 1, 2, 3, and then we'll say, okay?
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Have a geeky gecko great day. She remembered, guys. Oh, yeah, I love you. All right, guys. We'll see you guys next time. I'll try to do live chat again, live stream as soon as I can. Love you guys, and we will see you later.